true crime stories. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post something. On the outside, they look like the perfect family, loving husband, devoted father, beautiful home. But in August 2018, everything changed. What seemed like a missing persons case quickly turned into one of the most disturbing true crime stories in recent history. Stay with us as we explore every detail of this heartbreaking story. The case of Chris Watts is one of the most disturbing and widely discussed true crime stories in recent history, not only because of what happened, but because of how normal everything seemed on the surface. Chris lived with his wife, Shannon Watts, and their two daughters, Bella and Celeste, in the quiet suburban town of Frederick, Colorado. To anyone looking from the outside, they appeared to be a happy, loving family. Shannon was very active on social media, often posting videos of their daily lives, family moments, laughter, celebrations, painting a picture of what many would describe as the perfect life. But behind the scenes, their relationship had been under strain for some time, with financial pressures and growing emotional distance creating tension in the marriage. In the weeks leading up to August 2018, Chris began an affair with a co-worker, a relationship that would later play a significant role in the investigation. While Shannon was away on a business trip, Chris grew emotionally attached to this new relationship and began imagining a life without his family. Investigators later found that he was actively maintaining a double life, presenting himself as a devoted husband and father, while planning a future that excluded his wife and daughters. This affair, and his desire to escape his current life, became a critical piece of the puzzle in understanding his mindset. The events of August 13, 2018, marked the tragic turning point. Shannon returned home from her trip in the early morning hours, and according to later investigations, an emotional confrontation between the couple occurred shortly afterward. By midday, Shannon had missed a scheduled appointment and was unresponsive to calls and messages, prompting a close friend to contact authorities. Police arrived at the Watts home for a welfare check and spoke with Chris, who claimed he had no idea where his family was. Inside the house, several key details immediately raised suspicion. Shannon's personal belongings were still in the home, her car remained in the garage, and the house showed no signs that the family had left voluntarily. Later that day, Chris appeared on local television, pleading for his wife and daughters to return home safely. But viewers quickly noticed something unsettling. His tone was flat, his body language detached, and his emotional response seemed muted. While he spoke about wanting his family home, the lack of visible urgency made many question his sincerity. Investigators began to focus more closely on him, reviewing neighbor surveillance footage and collecting phone records to establish his movements that morning. These small but critical details helped reconstruct a timeline that would later prove essential to the case. Under mounting pressure, Chris agreed to a polygraph test, which indicated deception. Faced with increasing evidence and inconsistencies in his story, he ultimately confessed to the deaths of his wife and daughters. According to his admissions and official reports, the events unfolded within the home in the morning hours. The bodies were then taken to an oil site property where Chris worked. Shannon was placed in a shallow grave on the property, while the children were placed in nearby oil tanks. Law enforcement focused on reconstructing the timeline, surveillance footage, and Chris's own statements to confirm the sequence of events. Investigators carefully avoided graphic details in public reports, focusing instead on evidence and facts relevant to the case. The discovery of the bodies transformed the investigation from a missing persons case to a confirmed homicide. Chris Watts was arrested, and the overwhelming evidence against him left little room for doubt. In November 2018, he accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to multiple counts of murder and other charges. By doing so, he avoided the death penalty, but received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. During the sentencing, family members gave emotional statements describing the impact of the loss, and the court ensured that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. What makes the Chris Watts case so shocking is the contrast between his outward appearance and the horrific reality of his actions. To the public, he had been a quiet, seemingly ordinary man, To investigators, he had led a hidden life marked by deceit and a desire to start over without his family. The case also sparked discussions about the role of social media in shaping perceptions of normalcy, and how carefully curated online lives can mask real-life struggles and hidden tensions. Even years later, the story continues to captivate and disturb audiences, serving as a reminder of how little we may truly know about what goes on behind closed doors. The Watts family tragedy remains one of the most infamous true crime stories of the 21st century, a haunting combination of deception, secrecy, and devastating choices that destroyed a family and left an entire community in shock. For anyone exploring this case, it serves not only as a study in criminal investigation but also as a sobering lesson in the hidden complexities of human behavior. Thank you for watching. If you want more factual and respectful true crime content, please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, stay safe.